You think this place controls me? Money controls everything.
Sit down. This courtroom is not for sale.
The sound that went viral wasn't only the slap itself. It was what Will Smith said inside my courtroom 3 days later that changed everything. I'm Judge Frank Caprio, and what you're about to hear is the moment a Hollywood prince learned that a famous last name could not shield him from the consequences of what he did to a 54-year-old immigrant taxi driver who came to America with nothing but hope and $400. Jaden Smith entered a Providence taxi at exactly 8:47 on a Friday night. By 9:10 that same evening, he had struck Rajesh Patel across the face, destroyed Patel's $8,000 taxi medallion by throwing it into moving traffic, and uploaded a video mocking the driver's Indian accent to his 2.3 million followers. What I did during the next 17 minutes inside my courtroom and what Will Smith did when he later walked through those courtroom doors would restore faith for millions that justice still exists in America. This video went viral, reaching 89 million views because privilege finally collided with consequences. Because a deeply loved father was forced to choose between protecting his son and doing what was right, and because an immigrant's American dream was defended by American justice in a way that stunned the world. The 25-year-old man who walked into my courtroom that Thursday morning carried himself as if he owned every space. He stepped in too. Jaden Smith, the son of Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, part of one of the most powerful families in Hollywood. A $67,000 diamond chain glistened beneath the courtroom lights, as if he were attending a movie premiere rather than answering for an assault. He wore sunglasses indoors, AirPods still in his ears, treating the legal proceedings like background noise to whatever music he was streaming. His face showed nothing but boredom mixed with irritation, as though the entire justice system were merely an inconvenience between his morning plans and a yacht club lunch. Trailing behind him were 3 attorneys, the kind of legal firepower that costs a combined $12,000 an hour. This was the type of representation that makes prosecutors uneasy and reminds ordinary defendants just how unequal justice can become once money enters the equation. But seated in the front row of my gallery, appearing smaller than his 5'7" frame should have allowed, was someone else entirely. Raj Patel, 54 years old, wearing a simple button-up shirt with a faded taxi company logo stitched onto the pocket. His right eye was swollen completely shut. Deep shades of purple and black bruising spread across his cheekbone, as if his face had been painted with violence. His lip was split, held together by poorly applied butterfly stitches because he couldn't afford a visit to the emergency room. He went to urgent care instead, paid $180 out of pocket, then returned home to ice his face and question whether America was still the country he believed in when he arrived 22 years earlier. Raj Patel was an immigrant from Gujarat, India, who came to this country at 32 years old with $400 and the belief that hard work and respect would be enough. He worked 16-hour days behind the wheel of a taxi to send money back to his elderly parents, to put his daughter through nursing school, and to help his son apply to medical school. For 22 years, he had not received a single ticket, not been involved in a single accident, and never received a single customer complaint. That spotless record ended 3 days ago, when he picked up the wrong passenger and learned that perfection means nothing to someone born into wealth who views immigrants as less than human. If you believe that attacking a hard-working immigrant driver is unforgivable, that money never excuses racism, and that every person who comes to this country searching for a better life deserves basic human dignity, hit the subscribe button right now, because what I am about to do to Jaden Smith will remind everyone watching that in my courtroom a famous last name carries no weight once you've shown contempt for the immigrant story that built this nation. And leave a comment telling me, should the children of celebrities face harsher consequences when they dishonor their parents' values of respect and kindness? Mr. Smith, I began reviewing a file thicker than most felony cases. I see you are charged with assault and battery, destruction of property valued over $5,000, and ethnic intimidation under Rhode Island hate crime statutes against Rajesh Patel, a licensed taxi driver in this city for 22 years. How do you plead? His lead attorney, David Armstrong, stood immediately, wearing an expensive Tom Ford suit that likely cost more than Raj earned in 2 months of 16-hour workdays. Your Honor, my client pleads not guilty to all charges. We believe this incident has been severely mischaracterized and sensationalized due to my client's celebrity status. What actually occurred was a service dispute between a paying customer and a taxi driver, which escalated because of language barriers and the driver's erratic conduct. Any physical contact was purely defensive after Mr. Patel became aggressive. The hate crime enhancement is entirely unfounded. My client has worked with diverse communities, supports immigration reform, and has never displayed prejudice. His First Amendment rights protect his ability to criticize poor service. I raised my hand, cutting off the expensive performance. Counselor, the First Amendment does not shield someone from consequences when they assault another person and mock their ethnicity. And dashboard cameras don't lie about who was aggressive, though I do appreciate your creative interpretation of constitutional law. Mr. Smith, I said, looking directly at Jaden as he removed one AirPod, as if I were interrupting something far more important. Do you have anything you'd like to say? He looked at me with an expression that made my blood pressure rise. There was no remorse, no concern for the man he had injured, only irritation mixed with amusement. As though this entire proceeding were a performance he merely had to sit through until his father's money made it disappear. Your Honor, honestly, this whole situation is completely blown out of proportion. I had a terrible taxi experience. The driver barely spoke English, drove extremely slowly, and started lecturing me about traffic laws when all I wanted was to get to my hotel. I simply expressed my frustration as a customer. He got upset. I got out of the car. Now I am being criminally prosecuted because he's playing the victim card and people recognized who I am. This is a shakedown. Immigrants see celebrity names and they see lawsuit settlements. It happens all the time. The words exploded inside my courtroom like bombs. Raj Patel sat there, his face still brutalized, his eye swollen shut and his lips split, lowering his gaze to his hands. Hands hardened and scarred from 22 years of gripping a steering wheel 16 hours a day, 6 days a week, never complaining, always professional, always grateful for the opportunity America gave him. Mr. Smith, I said, you just accused a hard-working immigrant taxi driver of playing the victim card and trying to shake you down for money. A man who has driven in this city for 22 years without a single complaint. A man whose face is still swollen from where you struck him 3 days ago. Do you understand how that sounds? Jaden shrugged. He actually shrugged, as if we were casually discussing whether it might train later. Your Honor, I'm just being honest. I have nothing against immigrants. Some of my best friends are immigrants. This isn't about where he's from. It's about bad service and poor English skills. People see my father's name and they see dollar signs. If he can't speak English well enough to understand customers, maybe he should work a different job. Prosecutor Chen, I said quietly, because when my voice drops, everyone in my courtroom knows something serious is about to happen. Please present your evidence, because I have a feeling what Mr. Smith believes happened and what actually happened are two very different things. Jennifer Chen stood, holding a tablet, her expression showing the kind of controlled anger prosecutors have when the evidence is so clear the defense should be embarrassed. Your Honor, we have complete dashboard camera footage from Mr. Patel's taxi that captures the entire incident, from pickup to assault. The video is time-stamped, includes clear audio, and was automatically uploaded to the taxi company's servers, leaving no possibility of tampering. May I play it? I nodded, and the bailiff dimmed the lights. The monitor came to life with footage so clear and so damning that I saw Jaden and his attorneys shift uncomfortably in their seats. The video showed Jaden stumbling out of a downtown club at 8:47 p.m., visibly intoxicated and barely able to walk straight. Raj Patel arrived precisely on time in his immaculately maintained taxi, stepped out professionally, and opened the back door just as he had done thousands of times before. Good evening, sir. Where are we going tonight? His accent was noticeable, but his English was perfectly clear, professional, and kind. Jaden collapsed into the back seat without ever looking up from his phone. The Marriott on Westminster, and make it fast. He didn't say please. He didn't say thank you. He didn't acknowledge the man serving him as a human being. He didn't acknowledge that Raj was a human being providing him a service. The footage continued, and I watched Raj drive carefully and professionally, obeying every traffic law, just as he had for the past 22 years. Traffic was heavy on a Friday night in downtown Providence, and Raj navigated it with skill and precision. That's when Jaden's voice cut through the audio. Dude, can you go faster? I'm not paying you to drive like you're 90 years old, Raj responded patiently and professionally. Sir, there is traffic. I am driving at the speed limit. We will arrive in approximately 8 minutes. Then Jaden's voice came again, sharper and more aggressive. I don't care about the speed limit. I care about getting there. Run this red light. The light ahead turned yellow, and Raj did exactly what any responsible driver would do. He slowed to a stop. Jaden exploded. What are you doing? You could have made that. Raj remained calm. Sir, I cannot run red lights. That is against the law and unsafe. That's when Jaden leaned forward, and the hatred in his voice became unmistakable. Do you even understand what I'm saying? Do you speak English? Raj's voice, captured on the dashboard camera, stayed professional despite the insult. Yes, sir, I speak English. I have been driving a taxi in America for 22 years. Jaden's reply dripped with contempt. Yeah? Then why are you driving like you just got here? Maybe go back to driver's ed or back to wherever you came from. The courtroom fell completely silent. Those words hung in the air like poison. Go back to wherever you came from. The rallying cry of American racism for over 200 years. And Jaden Smith had just directed it at a man who had been an American citizen for 15 years. Raj's hands tightened around the steering wheel, but his voice remained steady. Sir, I am following all traffic laws. This is safe driving. Jaden wasn't done. Safe driving. You're holding up traffic? This is ridiculous. Then at the red light, Jaden threw open his door. You know what? Forget it. I'll walk. But he didn't walk away. The video showed him circling to the driver's side where Raj's window was down. Jaden leaned in, his face contorted with drunken rage. You're a terrible driver. Your English sucks. Maybe you people should learn the language before you take jobs dealing with Americans. Raj's voice shook, but he still tried to stay professional. Sir, I'm American. I've been a citizen for 15 years. Then Jaden said something that made people in my gallery gasp. Yeah, then act like one. The slap came fast and hard. The sound cracked through the courtroom speakers like a gunshot. Raj's head snapped to the side, his hand going to his face, blood immediately visible from his split lip. But Jaden wasn't finished destroying this man's life. The video showed him reaching through the window and ripping the taxi medallion from the rearview mirror, that metal disc with Raj's photo, his license number, his certification to work. Jaden held it up like a trophy. You don't deserve to drive in this city. Then he threw it into the middle of the street. A passing truck's headlights briefly illuminated the medallion before the vehicle crushed it flat. The sound of metal being destroyed was sickening. Raj cried out, "No, please. That is my license, my livelihood." Jaden's final words before walking away. Get a real job, then. The video showed Raj getting out of his taxi, traffic honking around him, retrieving the destroyed medallion with shaking hands. It was completely mangled, bent, and broken beyond repair. He held those pieces like he was holding his broken dreams, and the sound of him crying made several people in my courtroom wipe their eyes. Your Honor. Your Honor, Chen said quietly, we also have Mr. Smith's Twitter video mocking Mr. Patel's accent, posted just 20 minutes after the assault. Jaden's voice played from her phone, slurring but mockingly cheerful. Worst taxi ever, guys. Driver barely spoke English. I'm like, can you go faster? And he's like, here. Jaden switched to an exaggerated, high-pitched Indian accent. Please, sir, I cannot break the law, sir, he continued. Had to get out and walk. Immigrants, man, maybe learn English if you're going to work in customer service. The video had racked up 2.3 million views before he deleted it. When the audio ended, I looked at Raj Patel sitting there, his face battered, his livelihood destroyed. Mr. Patel, please approach and tell me your story. Tell me about coming to America and what this medallion meant to you. Raj stood slowly and walked forward. When he spoke, his voice was quiet but steady. Your Honor, I came to this country 22 years ago from India with 400 and a dream that hard work would be enough. I washed dishes for 3 years while taking English. Classes at night. I stood up. When I rise during a hearing, everyone in my courtroom knows something important is about to happen. But this time I did something I had never done in 40 years on this bench. I walked down, closing the distance between us, and stood directly in front of Jaden Smith. Look at me, I said. He lifted his eyes and for the first time I saw a flicker of fear cross his face. For 25 years you have lived in a bubble of privilege so complete that you cannot even recognize it. Your father is Will Smith, one of the most beloved actors in the world, a man who rose from nothing in Philadelphia to become a global icon, famous not only for his talent but for treating everyone with respect. From A-list actors to production assistants to taxi drivers, your father learned that every person deserves dignity. But you were born into wealth. You never had to learn that lesson. You have never worked 16-hour days for minimum wage. You have never had to learn a second language to survive in a foreign country. You have never had someone mock the way you speak after you spent years courageously learning their language. I walked to where Raj stood. Rayesh Patel came to this country at 32 years old. He left everything he knew behind. He arrived with $400 and hope. For 5 years, he washed dishes while taking English classes at night. He studied for his citizenship test and passed it in English.